Station Arcturus floated quietly in the darkness of space, far away from any major human worlds. The small research station had only 47 people living and working inside its metal walls. It was the smallest and least important human outpost in the entire galaxy. Nobody paid much attention to it, and that was exactly how the people there liked it. Commander Jake Morrison sat in his office drinking coffee and looking at boring reports about space dust and radiation levels. He was 53 years old and had been a soldier for most of his life. Now he was in charge of this quiet station where nothing ever happened. It was supposed to be an easy job before he retired. He had fought in wars before, but those days were over. Now his biggest problems were fixing broken equipment and making sure everyone got along. Lieutenant Amy Crawford was working at her station when her computer screen started showing strange readings. She was only 24 years old and fresh out of training. Everything still excited her, even the small things. But this time what she saw made her heart beat faster. "Commander Morrison, sir, I think you need to see this," she called out, trying to keep her voice calm. Jake put down his coffee and walked over to her desk. He looked at the screen and felt his stomach drop. There were ships coming toward them. Lots of ships, at least 30 of them, all appearing out of nowhere at the edge of their star system. "Are they sending any identification signals?" Jake asked. Amy shook her head. "No, sir, nothing. They are just sitting there in formation like a military fleet." Jake had been a soldier long enough to know what this meant. Ships that appeared together without identifying themselves were not friendly. He pressed a button that made alarms ring throughout the entire station. "Everyone to your stations. This is real. Send an emergency message to Earth Fleet Command right now," he ordered. Ensign Paul Martinez rushed to his communication station. His hands were shaking as he typed the message and sent it through the special faster-than-light communication system. "Message sent, sir. Fleet Command got it, but the closest patrol ships are 4 hours away from us." The computer updated its information about the unknown ships. They were warships from different alien species, all members of something called the Galactic Council. The Council was supposed to keep peace in the galaxy, but seeing their ships here did not feel peaceful at all. "Sir, they are trying to talk to us," Amy said. "Put it on the main screen," Jake replied. The screen flickered and showed the face of a large reptilian alien with cold yellow eyes. The creature looked at them with disgust as if humans were insects. "Human Outpost, I am High Admiral Zekthar of the Galactic Council United Fleet. Your species has been decided to be a danger to the galaxy. The Council has ordered all human stations to be destroyed. You have 1 minute to leave your station. This is your only warning." Jake felt cold all over, but he forced himself to stay calm. "Admiral, there must be a mistake. We are just a research station. We study radiation and dust. We are no danger to anyone. What you say does not matter. The decision is made. You have 50 seconds left." The alien cut off the communication. Jake turned to his crew. He could see fear in their faces, but he also saw that they were ready to fight if needed. "Amy, what weapons do we have?" "2 small railguns, sir. They were built to shoot space rocks, not warships. We also have emergency shields, but they were never meant to stop military weapons." Jake nodded slowly. He knew they could not win this fight. But he was not going to let these aliens destroy his station without a fight. If this was going to be his last stand, he would make it count. "Turn on the railguns. Put all power into the shields. Paul, keep that line to Fleet Command open. Make sure they know what is happening here." The crew moved quickly to follow his orders. Jake then did something he hoped he would never have to do. He activated a special emergency system hidden deep in the station. It sent out a specific signal on all human military channels. The signal had a code name, Protocol Zenith. It meant that humanity was in deadly danger. The alien warships opened fire. Bright beams of energy hit Station Arcturus, and the shields lit up like fireworks as they absorbed the impact. The whole station shook and alarms started ringing everywhere. "Shields holding at 60%, Amy shouted over the noise. "Fire the railguns. Target their smaller ships," Jake ordered. The station's 2 small weapons fired metal slugs at incredible speed. One of the alien attack craft exploded in a ball of fire. Then another. The aliens had not expected the humans to fight back at all, but it was not enough. More and more alien ships fired at the station. The shields were getting weaker with every hit. "Hull breach on deck 3 and 4, Amy reported. "Emergency doors are closed, but we lost the hydroponics section." "How many people?" Jake asked, dreading the answer. 5 dead, sir. 3 injured. Medical teams are helping them now." Jake closed his eyes for a second, feeling the weight of those lost lives. Then he opened them again. He had to stay focused. His crew needed him. The alien ships were preparing for a final attack. Jake could see on the sensors that they were charging their biggest weapons. This would be the shot that destroyed the station completely. "It has been an honor serving with all of you," Jake said quietly. But then something impossible happened. Paul suddenly shouted from his station. "New ships appearing, sir. Multiple contacts dropping out of hyperspace. They are ours. They are human ships." On the main screen, space itself seemed to tear open. Ship after ship appeared, coming out of hyperspace right next to the station. These were not small patrol boats. These were huge warships, over 100 of them. Leading them all was the biggest ship Jake had ever seen. Its name appeared on the screen, TFS Defiant. A woman's voice came through the speakers, strong and clear and absolutely furious. "This is Admiral Helen Grant of the Terran Federation to all hostile vessels. You attacked human territory. You killed human citizens. You started a war with humanity. Now you will learn what that means." Jake felt hope surge through him for the first time since the attack began. The cavalry had arrived and they had brought the entire army with them. 4 hours before the attack on Station Arcturus, Admiral Helen Grant stood on the bridge of the TFS Defiant. She was in command of the entire Third Fleet, which had over 200 ships. But peacetime was boring for a soldier like her. Most of her days were spent reading reports and signing papers. She missed the action of her younger years, though she would never say that out loud. "Admiral, we have an emergency message from Sector Command," said Lieutenant Chris Baker from his station. Helen sat up straight in her command chair. Emergency messages were rare. "What is it?" "Station Arcturus is under attack, ma'am. Multiple enemy ships. They are asking for help immediately. Set course for Arcturus right now. Maximum speed. Get the entire fleet ready for combat," Helen ordered without hesitation. Her mind was already working through the problem. Arcturus was a small research station in the middle of nowhere. Why would anyone attack it? It made no sense unless someone was trying to send a message. "Ma'am, there is more," Chris said, and his voice sounded worried. "Arcturus has activated Protocol Zenith." Everyone on the bridge stopped what they were doing. Protocol Zenith was the most serious emergency code in the entire human military. It meant only one thing: humanity was facing extinction. "Confirm that code immediately," Helen demanded. "Confirmed, Admiral. Protocol Zenith is active. We are also getting reports from other areas. Multiple human stations across our border are being attacked at the same time." Helen felt ice in her veins. This is not a random attack. Someone planned this. They are trying to wipe us out all at once. She turned to Chris. "Send a priority message to Earth Command. Tell them we have a galaxy-wide attack in progress. Request permission to use Response Omega." Chris looked pale. Everyone in the military knew about Response Omega, but nobody thought they would ever actually use it. "Are you certain, Admiral? If they are hitting Arcturus, they are hitting everything we have. We need authorization now, or there might not be anything left to save." The message shot across space faster than light itself. 30 seconds later, an answer came back from Earth. "Earth Command confirms. Response Omega is authorized. All human military forces are now weapons-free. Rules of engagement: total war. Show no mercy." Helen stood up from her chair. Her voice carried across the entire bridge with the force of absolute authority. "All ships, this is Admiral Grant. As of this moment, humanity is at war. Target every hostile ship you see. Give no warnings. Show no mercy." They wanted to see what happens when they attack humans. Let us show them. All across human space, sleeping military bases suddenly came alive. Warships that had been on routine patrol changed course and pushed their engines to maximum power. Defense platforms around human planets activated weapons that had never been fired except in tests. And in secret shipyards hidden in asteroid fields and gas giants, weapons that had been built in secret for decades started powering up. The galaxy thought humanity was weak. They thought humans were peaceful explorers who just wanted to be friends with everyone. What the aliens did not know was that humanity had learned hard lessons from their own bloody history. Peace was beautiful, but it only lasted when you were strong enough to defend it. For the past 100 years, while smiling and making friends with aliens, humanity had been building the most powerful military force the galaxy had ever seen. Helen watched her tactical display as the fleet accelerated toward Arcturus. The display showed they would arrive too late to save the station. but they would be in time to make the attackers regret what they had done. "Time to reach Arcturus?" she asked. 3 hours and 40 minutes at maximum speed, Admiral. Push the engines past their safety limits. I want to be there in 3 hours, and I do not care if we burn out every reactor doing it. Yes, ma'am. The Defiant shook as its massive engines pushed harder than they were designed to go. Around it, the rest of the fleet did the same. Every captain understood what was at stake. Their fellow humans were dying, and they would move heaven and earth to save them. Helen pulled up the classified files on Response Omega. These were orders she had hoped to never read, but now that the moment had come, she felt only cold determination. The files detailed exactly what humanity would do if ever faced with extinction. It was not pretty, but it was effective. She read through the weapon systems that were now being activated, particle beams that could burn through any known shield, missiles with warheads that could crack planets, kinetic weapons that hit with the force of nuclear bombs, and those were just the conventional weapons. The really scary stuff was still classified even from her. "Send a message to all human stations and colonies," Helen ordered. "Tell them to hold on. Tell them the fleet is coming, and tell them that before the sun sets today, the galaxy will remember why you never attack humanity." The communications officer sent the message immediately. Across human space, frightened civilians and desperate soldiers heard those words and felt hope return. Earth had not forgotten them. Earth was coming, and it was bringing hell with it. Helen looked out at the stars rushing past at faster-than-light speed. She thought about all the peace conferences she had attended, all the times she had smiled and shaken hands with alien diplomats. She had always been polite, always been friendly, always tried to find peaceful solutions to problems. But now the mask was off. Now the aliens would see what humans really were underneath all that politeness. They would learn that being peaceful and being harmless were two very different things. "Admiral, we are receiving combat reports from other sectors," Chris reported. "The 2nd Fleet has engaged enemy forces near Colony Station Baker. The 5th Fleet is defending the mining colonies in the outer reaches. All engagements are going in our favor." "Casualty reports?" "Still coming in, ma'am. But initial reports show our losses are minimal compared to enemy losses. Their shields cannot stop our weapons." Helen allowed herself a small, cold smile. The galaxy had built their shields based on their own weapons technology, but humanity had studied every alien weapon system they could get their hands on. Human weapons were specifically designed to punch through alien defenses. It was like bringing a rifle to a sword fight. "Keep me updated on all fleet actions. And Chris, make sure every captain knows the rules. Any ship that fires on humans is a valid target. Any ship that surrenders immediately will be spared. But anyone who keeps fighting dies. No exceptions." "Understood, Admiral." The Defiant raced through space, leading over 100 warships toward Arcturus. Helen knew that what happened in the next few hours would change galactic history forever. Humanity had been the new species, the peaceful explorers trying to find their place among the stars. After today, they would be something else entirely. They would be the species you never wanted to make angry. Commander Jake Morrison gripped his chair as another explosion rocked Station Arcturus. The shields were almost gone now, flickering like a dying light bulb. The 2 railguns had been destroyed in the last barrage. All they could do now was wait for the end. "Hull breach on Deck 3 and 4, Amy reported, her voice shaking. "Emergency doors are holding the air in, but barely. How many people did we lose?" 5 dead in the hydroponics section. 3 more injured. The medical team is doing what they can." Jake closed his eyes for a moment. 5 people dead. 5 families who would get the worst news of their lives. And for what? Because some aliens decided humanity was dangerous? "Sir, the enemy fleet is preparing for another attack," Paul called out. "This one looks like it will finish us." Jake opened his eyes and looked at his crew. They were scared, but they were still at their stations, still doing their jobs. He had never been more proud of anyone in his life. "It has been an honor to serve with you all," he said quietly. Then Paul shouted, his voice cracking with emotion. "New contacts! Multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace. They are ours. Human ships!" Jake spun to look at the main screen. What he saw made his heart leap. Space was tearing open like someone was ripping through a curtain. Ship after ship appeared, materializing from hyperspace in a perfectly coordinated formation. 1 ship, 2 ships, 10 ships, 50 ships, 100 ships. They kept coming until the area around Arcturus was filled with human warships. Leading them all was a massive battleship that made the alien cruisers look like toys. The name on its hull read TFS Defiant, And from that ship came a voice that was cold as ice and hard as steel. "This is Admiral Helen Grant of the Terran Federation to all hostile vessels. You attacked human territory. You killed human citizens. You have declared war on humanity. Now you face the consequences." On the alien command ship, High Admiral Zekthar stared at the human fleet with growing fear. His scales turned pale, something that only happened when a Vraxian was truly terrified. "Admiral Grant, this is a Galactic Council operation. We are enforcing galactic law. You must stand down immediately," he said, trying to sound authoritative but failing. "You have 10 seconds to leave this system or I will destroy every single ship you have," Helen replied calmly. 10, 9, 8. You cannot threaten the Council. We have authority over all species. 765. This is madness. You are outnumbered. We have 30 ships to your 4, 3, 2. Zekthar finally realized she was not bluffing. He started screaming orders to his fleet to prepare for combat. But he had wasted precious seconds and Admiral Grant had not been making empty threats. 1. Fire. The human fleet opened fire, and what happened next shocked everyone watching. Humanity's weapons were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Beams of pure energy lanced out from the human ships, hitting the alien vessels with impossible accuracy. Missiles streaked across space, their guidance systems so advanced they could track a target through evasive maneuvers. And kinetic rounds, simple chunks of metal accelerated to incredible speeds, hit like the hammer of God. But the most shocking thing was not the weapons themselves. It was how easily they tore through alien shields. Every spacefaring race had shields. Shields were basic technology that everyone relied on for defense. But human weapons went through alien shields like they were not even there. 3 alien cruisers exploded in the first 10 seconds. Their shields had collapsed instantly, and the follow-up shots had pierced their hulls and detonated their reactors. The explosions lit up space like new suns being born. All ships evasive maneuvers. Zekthar screamed into his communicator. But human targeting computers had already calculated every possible evasive move. No matter which way the alien ships dodged, human weapons were waiting for them. It was like watching a pack of wolves hunt sheep. Target their command ships first, Admiral Grant ordered. I want every flag officer dead. Disable the rest for capture. The human fleet moved with precision that came from endless training. Every ship knew exactly what to do. Every weapon crew had practiced this scenario 1,000 times in simulation. While the galaxy had seen humanity as peaceful explorers, Earth's military had been preparing for war. 2 minutes into the battle, half the alien fleet was destroyed or crippled. The remaining ships tried to run, but human ships were faster. Earth's engineers had pushed hyperspace technology further than any other species. Ships that tried to escape found human vessels already waiting for them when they dropped out of hyperspace. Sir, the alien fleet is trying to surrender, Lieutenant Chris reported from the Defiance bridge. Helen's face showed no emotion. Did they give Arcturus a chance to surrender? Ma'am, Commander Morrison reports that the enemy gave them 1 minute to evacuate before opening fire. Then we are being generous. They have 30 seconds to power down all weapons and prepare to be boarded. Any ship that does not comply will be destroyed immediately. Across the battlefield, alien ships went dark. Their captains chose life over pride. But 3 Vraxian warships, including Admiral Zekthar's flagship, tried to make a run for it. They fired up their hyperspace engines and attempted to flee. Light them up, Helen said coldly. Every human ship in range opened fire on the 3 fleeing vessels. The targeting computers tracked their every move. The weapons fired with mechanical precision. In less than 60 seconds, all 3 ships were nothing but expanding clouds of debris and bodies. The bridge crew on the Defiant checked their combat chronometers. From the moment Admiral Grant had given the order to fire until the last enemy ship was destroyed or surrendered, exactly 6 minutes had passed. 6 minutes. That was all it took for humanity to shatter the galaxy's most powerful military alliance and announce its arrival as a superpower. On Station Arcturus, Jake Morrison and his crew stared at the view screen in stunned silence. They had been preparing to die. Now they were watching their would-be killers surrender or die themselves. Commander Morrison, what is your status? Admiral Grant's voice came through, calm and professional as if she had just finished a routine exercise instead of the most one-sided battle in galactic history. Jake found his voice. Station is damaged but still functional, Admiral. We have 5 dead and multiple wounded, but we are still here. Good work, Commander. Medical teams are on their way to you. You and your crew did well. You held the line when it mattered most. Now rest. We will handle things from here. As rescue ships moved toward the damaged station and Marines began boarding the surrendered alien vessels, the news of what happened at Arcturus began spreading across the galaxy. The message traveled at light speed through the quantum communication network, reaching every inhabited system in hours. Humanity, the peaceful species that everyone had dismissed as harmless, had just destroyed a Galactic Council fleet in 6 minutes. 6 minutes. The number would be repeated in news reports, in military academies, in history books for generations to come. The galaxy had attacked humanity's smallest outpost, expecting an easy victory. Instead, they had awakened something they did not understand. They had forced humanity to show its true strength, and that strength was terrifying. Admiral Helen Grant looked at the disabled alien ships floating in space around her fleet. She felt no joy in the victory, only grim satisfaction that justice had been served. "Send a message to Earth Command," she ordered. "The battle is over. Arcturus is secure. The enemy is defeated. Long live humanity." Throughout human space, on stations and colonies and ships, people heard those words and cheered. They had been attacked. They had been hurt. But they had won, and the galaxy would never look at humanity the same way again. The Galactic Council chamber on the planet Zentara Prime had never been so chaotic. Representatives from 47 different species were shouting at each other, their voices creating a terrible noise that echoed off the high ceiling. The holographic display in the center of the room showed the aftermath of the battle at Arcturus, and nobody could believe what they were seeing. Counselor Thane, a tall alien with blue skin and 4 arms from the Krell species, slammed his hand on the podium. "Silence! We must have order in this chamber." Slowly the noise died down, but the tension in the room was so thick you could cut it with a knife. "We have all seen the battle recordings," Thane continued. "The human fleet destroyed or captured 30 Council warships in 6 minutes. 6 minutes! This changes everything we thought we knew about humanity." A female Vraxian counselor stood up, her scales flushed dark with anger. "What it means is that the humans are liars and traitors. They told us they were a peaceful species, but all along they were building a secret war machine. They violated the Treaty of Zentara." "Did they?" A calm voice cut through the anger. Ambassador Lisa Carter, the human representative, stood up. She was a small woman compared to most of the aliens in the room, but her presence commanded attention. "Please, Counselor, tell me exactly which part of the treaty we violated." "You built warships far beyond the agreed numbers. We built ships in our own territory using our own resources with our own materials," Lisa replied coolly. "The treaty limited military vessels within Council space. We never signed anything that limited what we could build in our own systems. We followed the letter of your law perfectly. You call those weapons defensive?" the Vraxian counselor hissed. "When you attack our civilians without warning or cause, yes, we call defending ourselves defensive. Or would you prefer we simply let you murder us all?" Counselor Thane raised his hand before the argument could get worse. "Ambassador Carter, please understand the Council's position. We received intelligence that suggested humanity was developing prohibited weapons. We had to act to protect the galaxy." "Intelligence from whom?" Lisa asked sharply. "Who told you we were a threat? I want names." "That information is classified Council business." "Then let me declassify it for you." Lisa activated her own holographic display. It showed intercepted communications between several Council species. 3 weeks ago, the Vraxian Dominion, the Krell Union, and 4 other Council members held a secret meeting. In that meeting, they agreed to eliminate humanity before we could become a rival to their power. They made up false evidence about weapons development. They planned genocide, Counselor. Not peacekeeping. Genocide. The chamber erupted into chaos again. Species were accusing each other of betrayal. The named conspirators were trying to deny everything. Some counselors were demanding explanations, while others were trying to shout over everyone else. "Lies," the Vraxian counselor screamed. "How dare you accuse the Council of such crimes?" "I am not accusing," Lisa said calmly. "I am stating facts. You see, while you were busy thinking we were primitive and harmless, we were listening to your communications. We have been monitoring your so-called secure channels for years. We know exactly what you planned." Counselor Thane looked at the human ambassador with new respect and new fear. "Ambassador Carter, if this is true, it represents a serious breach of Council protocol. It represents attempted genocide, Lisa corrected him. You tried to exterminate an entire species based on made-up evidence. The only reason you failed is because we were smarter and stronger than you thought. Another counselor, this one from a species that had not been involved in the conspiracy, spoke up. What does Earth want? Revenge, territory? Are you here to threaten us all? Lisa took a deep breath. No, despite what you have done, we do not want war. We never did. We just wanted to be left alone to grow and develop in peace. You are the ones who decided we were dangerous. You are the ones who fired first. But we are willing to end this conflict right now, if you meet our terms. And what are these terms? Thane asked carefully. First, an immediate ceasefire. All Council forces must withdraw from human space immediately. Second, reparations for the lives you took and the property you destroyed. We lost 43 people across all the attacks. Each family will be compensated. Third, the species who planned this attack will give up their council seats for 20 years. Fourth, humanity will be granted full council membership with veto power. And fifth, we will establish a mutual defense treaty to ensure this never happens again. The Vraxian counselor looked like she might explode. Those terms are outrageous. You cannot demand such things from the council. I think our terms are extremely generous, Lisa replied. You tried to commit genocide. We could demand complete surrender. We could demand your territory. We could demand you dismantle your entire military. We could demand a lot of things. But we will not, because unlike you, we actually believe in peaceful coexistence. And if we refuse your terms? Lisa's eyes went cold. Then we continue what you started. And I promise you, Counselor, you will not enjoy how it ends. You saw what we did to your fleet at Arcturus. That was one battle group, one of 15 we have. We have over 3,000 warships total. We have weapons you have not seen yet. We have been preparing for this possibility for a century, while you thought we were harmless. If you want to test us, go ahead. But know that we will win and the cost to you will be everything. The chamber went silent. Every species present had military analysts who had studied the Battle of Arcturus frame by frame. Every expert had come to the same conclusion. In an extended war, humanity would crush the Council. The humans had better weapons, better shields, better engines, and better training. They had been preparing for war while pretending to be peaceful explorers. Counselor Thane called for a recess. For 1 hour, the Council met in closed session, debating behind locked doors. When they returned, Thane looked like he had aged 10 years. The Council has voted on Earth's terms, he said slowly. We accept them, all of them. We will formalize the treaty within the week. Ambassador Carter, please tell your government that we regret the misunderstanding that led to this conflict. Misunderstanding, Lisa repeated, her voice flat and cold. You call attempted genocide a misunderstanding. Very well. We will accept your regret along with your compliance. But know this, counselors. Humanity has a long memory. We will never forget what you tried to do to us. We will be watching. And if you ever threaten us again, there will be no warnings, no negotiations, no second chances. We will simply end you. She let those words hang in the air for a moment, then gathered her materials and left the chamber. Her aide, a young man named Danny Foster, was waiting outside. Ma'am, Fleet Command reports all human installations are secure. The galaxy is standing down. The war is over. How many did we lose in total? 43 dead, 117 wounded across all the attacks. Station Arcturus took the worst casualties. Lisa closed her eyes, feeling the weight of each lost life. Those 43 people had been alive yesterday. They had families, dreams, futures. Now they were gone, because the galaxy had underestimated humanity. Make sure their families are told personally by officers, not by messages. And Danny, I want monuments built on every station that was attacked. Those people died because we were underestimated. We need to remember them always. Yes, ma'am. There is one more thing. The news networks across the galaxy are calling this the 6-Minute War. It has already become famous. Lisa looked out at the alien city beyond the window. Zentara Prime was beautiful, with towers that reached into the clouds and sky bridges connecting buildings high above the ground. It was the center of galactic civilization, the place where the powerful species made decisions that affected everyone. But after today, there was a new power in the galaxy. Humanity had arrived, not as beggars asking for acceptance, but as warriors demanding respect. The 6-Minute War had changed everything, and the galaxy would never be the same. 3 months had passed since the 6-Minute War, and Commander Jake Morrison stood in the rebuilt observation deck of Station Arcturus. The station looked better than it had before the attack. New sections had been added, better weapons had been installed, and stronger shields protected it now. What had been the smallest and most forgotten human outpost was now a symbol of human courage and strength. "Commander, the delegation from Earth is arriving," Lieutenant Amy Crawford announced. She had been promoted for her bravery during the battle, and now served as Jake's second-in-command. Jake straightened his uniform and headed to the docking bay. When the airlock opened, Admiral Helen Grant stepped through, followed by Ambassador Lisa Carter and several other important officials from Earth. "Admiral, Ambassador, welcome to Arcturus," Jake said, giving a crisp salute. Helen returned the salute and smiled warmly. "Commander Morrison, the station looks wonderful. How is your crew doing?" "We are healing, ma'am. The counselors have helped a lot. Everyone stays busy with work, which helps us not think too much about that day." Helen's smile faded and her expression became serious. "Jake, I have an offer for you. Fleet Command wants to promote you to captain and give you command of a new heavy cruiser. But I also know you have been through hell here. If you want to retire with full honors and a pension, nobody would blame you. You have earned it." Jake thought about the offer carefully. Part of him wanted to leave, to find a quiet place far from war and death. But another part, the part that had kept fighting when death seemed certain, knew he was not done serving yet. "I appreciate the retirement offer, Admiral, but I think I will take that cruiser. Someone needs to remind the galaxy what happens when they mess with humans." Helen grinned. "That is exactly what I hoped you would say. Welcome to the TFS Vigilance, Captain Morrison. She is brand new, equipped with the latest weapons and shields. I think you will find her more than adequate for the job." As they toured the station together, Ambassador Lisa pulled Jake aside privately. "Captain, I wanted to thank you personally. What you and your crew did here bought us the time we needed. If Arcturus had surrendered without a fight, the Council might have thought we were weak. Your resistance showed them we would stand and fight no matter the odds. We just did our duty, ma'am. You did much more than that. You reminded humanity and the galaxy that we never surrender. That is going to be important in the years ahead. The Council accepted our peace terms, but some species still resent us. They will be looking for any sign of weakness." Later that evening, Jake gathered his crew in the station's arboretum for a memorial service. A stone monument had been placed there, surrounded by plants from Earth, oak trees, roses, and wildflowers that seemed to defy the cold darkness of space with their beauty and life. The names of the 5 crew members who had died were carved into the stone: Danny Wright, Susan Palmer, Kevin Torres, Linda Green, and Marcus Hill. "We are here to remember our friends," Jake began, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "These 5 people gave their lives defending this station. They did not have time to think about being heroes. They were just doing their jobs when the galaxy decided to attack us. But in doing those jobs, in staying at their posts, in fighting when all seemed lost, they became symbols of everything humanity represents: courage, determination, and the absolute refusal to give up." Amy stepped forward and placed a wreath of earth flowers at the base of the monument. "We will remember them. We will honor them. And we will make sure the galaxy never forgets what it cost to attack humanity." One by one, each crew member came forward and placed their hand on the monument, making a silent promise to never forget their fallen friends. The ceremony was simple but powerful, a reminder that every life mattered and every sacrifice would be remembered. Across human space, similar ceremonies were taking place at every station that had been attacked. Earth had lost only 43 people in the 6-minute war, but each loss was felt deeply. The Terran Federation valued every individual, and those who had died would never be forgotten. In the weeks after the war, the galaxy adjusted to the new reality. Humanity took its seat on the Galactic Council, and Ambassador Lisa wasted no time pushing for changes. The old system where powerful species dominated weaker ones began to crumble as Earth fought for equal treatment and fair representation for all. Some species welcomed the changes. Smaller civilizations that had suffered under Council domination found a strong ally in humanity. Others resented Earth's new power and influence, plotting quietly for the day they could strike back. But they were careful now, very careful. The 6-minute war had taught everyone a valuable lesson about underestimating humans. Meanwhile, the human military did not rest. The fleets revealed during the war were just part of Earth's strength. In hidden facilities scattered across human space, Scientists and engineers continued developing new technologies and weapons. Humanity would never again be caught unprepared. Admiral Helen Grant stood on the bridge of the Defiant, looking out at the stars as her fleet patrolled the border regions. The war might be over, but vigilance never ended. "Ma'am, we are receiving requests from several new species," Lieutenant Chris reported. "They want to establish diplomatic relations with Earth. They are interested in trade agreements and mutual defense pacts." Helen nodded. "Forward the requests to the diplomatic corps. But keep the fleet on alert. Peace is good, but we must always be ready for war." "Yes, ma'am." As the Defiant moved through space, Helen thought about how much had changed in just 3 months. Humanity had been forced to reveal its strength earlier than planned. But perhaps that was for the best. The galaxy now knew Earth was not to be threatened, and that knowledge would protect human lives better than any weapon. On Station Arcturus, Captain Jake Morrison prepared to leave for his new command. He took one last walk through the observation deck, looking out at the stars where the battle had taken place. The debris from destroyed ships had been cleared away, but the memories remained sharp and clear. "Goodbye, old friend," he whispered to the station. "Take care of the next crew." Amy appeared beside him. "Ready to go, sir?" "As ready as I will ever be. Are you still sure you want to come along as my executive officer?" "Would not miss it for anything, Captain. Someone needs to keep you out of trouble." Jake laughed, and it felt good after months of grief and sadness. "Then let us go show the galaxy what the Vigilance can do." As they departed on a shuttle bound for their new ship, Station Arcturus continued its watch over the sector. It was no longer a forgotten outpost, but a monument to human determination and strength. Ships passing through the system would see it and remember what had happened here. Remember what humanity was capable of when pushed to the edge. The 6-minute war had ended almost as quickly as it began, but its effects would last for centuries. The galaxy had learned that humanity could be peaceful, friendly, and cooperative. But when threatened, when pushed too far, humans would fight with a skill and ferocity that no other species could match. It was a lesson the Galactic Council would never forget. It was a lesson that would keep humanity safe for generations to come. And it was a lesson that began on a small forgotten station, where 47 people refused to surrender even when death seemed certain. The war was over, but humanity's journey among the stars was just beginning, and now finally the galaxy knew the truth. You could be friends with humanity, you could trade with humanity, you could work with humanity, but you should never ever attack humanity, because if you did, you would face the consequences, and those consequences would be swift, terrible, and absolutely final. Captain Jake Morrison looked out at the stars from his new ship and smiled. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Humanity had earned its place among the stars not through words or diplomacy, but through courage and strength. And that place would be defended now and always by people willing to stand and fight when the moment came. The galaxy had attacked humanity's smallest outpost. The war had ended in 6 minutes, and the universe would never be the same again.